Today we hear Jesus say to the crowds who follow him, "Every one of you who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciple." At first glance, this invitation of Jesus might sound like an impossible task. Can anyone really live up to this command of Jesus to renounce all possessions? Is this a realistic call? Perhaps the meaning of Jesus' words come to light in today's first reading, where St. Paul sums up the entire gospel or the kerygma. There, St. Paul points to the heart of Jesus' paschal mystery when he says, "Owe nothing to anyone except to love one another, for love is the fulfillment of the law." Renouncing one's possessions calls for an attitude of heart and mind that puts first things first. And isn't that the challenge of the spiritual life? To put God first in the midst of all that demands our attention. This is the interior attitude of a disciple of Jesus who is striving to place God, not the self, at the center of life. And we can be sure that this is not easy. It certainly does not happen overnight. In fact, it takes years of perseverance to put God and others at the center of our actions, words, decisions, and thoughts. It takes effort on our part to cooperate with God's grace to replace the golden calf of the self with God at the center of our being and life. This paradox of Christian discipleship is that the more God, not the self, becomes the center of life, the more free, joyful, and peaceful we become. Renunciation of self is not a punishing and unrealistic demand that takes the fun out of life. Rather, renunciation of self is the path to true happiness, freedom, and genuine love, with God, our Creator, at the source and center. Jesus knows well that cultivating a heart that is centered fully on love of God and neighbor is not easy. So he does not leave his disciples and us to struggle on our own. Rather, Jesus walks with you as you carry the daily crosses of your life. Jesus' life, death, and resurrection is the pattern of our dying to self and rising to new life in him. So as we hear God's word today, will we take up Jesus' invitation to the adventure of Christian discipleship? Have a blessed day.